Hello, this is Angelo, and I am here with another life coaching masterclass, but not just another masterclass. What I believe is super masterclass number two. And if you didn't watch the masterclass that we had about 2 weeks ago, I believe it would be a great idea to watch it before you watch this one. Today's subject is the one thing you need right now for super success. And may I add, the only one thing you need for super success. So, as always, before we begin, I want to thank you and congratulate you for being here. And also, you want to congratulate yourself simply because you know by now how easy it is for you to get distracted and derailed on your journey towards your ideal destination. Of course, you want to switch off your phone, or unless you're watching from it, and for sure, you want to turn off all notifications and all distractions. Let's just say that for the next 30 minutes or so in this world, it is just you and me. Of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, but always remember that you will have also the replay at your disposal if you prefer to fully focus and fully participate here. And last but not least, I want to remind you that we have crossed the point of no return, meaning that the only outcome that you allow in your consciousness is you landing happily and safely at your destination. How do you feel? The question that I begin each and every masterclass with, and the question that you want to be asking yourself many times during the day, simply because the better you feel, the better the quality of your life is right now, the better your present is, and also the more energy you have towards getting wherever it is you want to go. Also, I want to remind you that we have set our thermostat to the happy and unstoppable state, meaning that whenever that state is below that, we practice the exercises of perspective, forgiveness, love, gratitude, and happy landing to elevate our state back up to the happy and unstoppable. Now, today's menu. As promised, I'm going to give you the only one thing you need right now for super success. How to get it? It's easy, but as Jim Rohn used to say, what is easy to do is also easy not to do. And I will also give you some guidelines how not to lose it, or better, how to hold on to it. And also, I have a super surprise for you if you stay until the end. And it's not an offer or anything. You will not have to, look for your credit card or anything. It is a surprise, something that I'm very excited about, and something that will occupy my mind, every single cell of my being from now until the end of the year. Now, I promise that I will give you the only one thing you need right now for super success. But for sure, it's not that one. And I will tell you a story that I learned just a few weeks ago about someone. There was a lady who was desperately looking for her soulmate. And what she did basically is that she signed up to all kinds of dating apps, and she was like frantically using all these apps and setting up dates, sometimes 2 to 3 dates per day. And she reached to the point where she had 500 dates in a year. And of course, nothing happened. And at that point, basically what she said was, I give up. Enough with this thing. This does not work. Okay. And I will let go completely of this. I don't care if I will end up single or if I get married like 100 times. I don't care at all. I'm giving up. And sure enough, a couple of weeks later, she met somebody who ended up becoming her husband. And of course, it is because that shift happened in her mind first, and she almost probably accidentally resonated with what I will be giving you in a few minutes' time, because this is the only one thing you need right now for super success. So let us go back for a fraction of a second to the previous masterclass, what I like to call super masterclass number 1. And if you haven't watched it, there is a link at the description of this masterclass, and also pasting the link also in the chat right now if you prefer to watch it before you watch this one. But what matters is that all your power is concentrated right here, right now. So whatever it is that is the solution to what you're looking for is concentrated right here, right now. Now is the only time we have, and no matter how impossible or hard it may seem to you right now to make that shift can happen right now. And before I gave you an example of failure, let's say, okay, of going about in the wrong way, of trying to push an outcome and going about 500 dates to find your soulmate. Now I thought, okay, we are going to talk about, success. Let us think of a success story. And I don't know if you know this, but there are about 104,000 flights every single day, and 99.9999% of these flights end up exactly where they should be, in the right airport, at the right runway, and so on. So, what is their secret? What are pilots primarily looking for when they're flying? And that is this instrument over here, which, by the way, is, I haven't seen like all the cockpits, but in most, if not all cockpits, is like the center of attention, is right in front of the pilot, and that is called the attitude indicator. It is simply an instrument that demonstrates what the attitude of the aircraft is, if it is looking up or down, left or right. And that said, now you can understand that as long as you maintain a so-called super attitude, and I'm saying so-called because we have not defined it yet, you're getting closer to your super destination. This is all you need. And you can have your emotions as your attitude indicator. And now you know, or you know even better, or you have a deeper insight. Why am I so passionate about asking you all the time, how do you feel, and what we can do to upgrade that emotional state? So let's talk about some facts. Right now, number one, you cannot be at your super destination. There is something still lacking, right? But you can have a super attitude, and that is more than enough. This is all you need, that super attitude. So your super attitude is actually the only thing that you need right now to manifest the super success you so much deserve and desire. It is the only one thing that you need right now, that super attitude. And that said, let's try to define the super attitude. And before I give you like the very simple and brief description of it, I want to tell you a story. So let us go back to 2001, which was the beginning of my career. And what you see here is little Angelo, basically, at the first steps of his career at Unilever, and more specifically Algida, which is the ice cream company. Maybe it has a different name. It is that heart-shaped brand. It most probably has a different name where in your country, like Walls or Good Humor and so many others. Ola, maybe. So when I was in the interview stage, and I think I've had something like 7 interviews to get hired by Unilever. Unfortunately, my very first interview was with the HR director of Unilever, which back then she was kind of strict, let's say. She was a tough person and a tough interviewer. And so I went immediately, like into the really deep blue waters of interviewing. And I was kind of prepared, I should say, and I was doing well, or at least I thought I was doing well, right? So everything was going out smoothly. I was most probably giving the right answers and I felt confident with myself. But the very last question was like a kick in my self confidence. I was not prepared. And also, at that point, I didn't use the right words. So, what basically that question was is this, or let's say the requirement, because it wasn't a question, it was describe yourself with just 3 adjectives. And I startled for a moment, and then I said polite, which was one of the things that maybe I wanted to say anyway. Then I said like a team player, because in Greek, this is just one word. And I said that because I was expecting it would be a good thing to say. And the third one, I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter. Because what I was basically describing was myself, not the person, the winning state person that would not only undertake the task at hand, the job description, but more importantly, would be open to some kind of career growth that would deserve that position. Because back then, Unilever was truly investing in people who would stay a long time and become, like really climb the ladder of the company. And this is how basically the initial investment of hiring in such, like a strict manner would pay off. So back then, I didn't know that there is such thing as Sloppy Angelo and Super Angelo and so many other gray versions in between. And that said, now I would be more able to answer this question simply because I've done this process over and over again in my mind. And not only that, I'm not focusing on describing who I am right now, but who my best version is, even if I have practiced that version a fraction of my life. So, what is your super attitude? It's definitely not stress, frustration, overwhelm, or any other low emotion that you're feeling right now. It is definitely not any favorable external development. So, we're not saying that you have a super attitude because you have just had a big win or you are successful at something already. It has nothing to do with your outer world. And it has everything to do with the fact that you have absolute control of your inner world. So your super attitude is the state, the attitude of your super self that is already at your destination. And that said, now you can find the 3 core adjectives that describe that super state, that super attitude. For example, for me, Super Angelo is number 1, happy, focused, and poised, meaning I have absolute faith as Super Angelo of the outcome. By definition, because by definition, your super self is already at your destination. Your super self has already achieved what you want to achieve. So, the number 1 thing, the only thing that you want to focus on right now is to practice that frequency. And in physics, this is called resonance. And all you need basically right now is to fully resonate with the frequency, the attitude of your super self or your super attitude. And now you can easily remind yourself of that super attitude, what it means, because you know, or after doing the exercise, you will know the three adjectives, the three most important ones that describe your super state, your super attitude. Now, the last thing is, how do you hold on to that? And for me, the best example is to remind you of the air balloon. And when the air balloon is losing height, there are two things that you can do basically. Number one, raise, like increase the fire, the flame that heats up the air. And number two is to drop off, to let go of everything that is considered ballast, even if it means, a $1 million bottle of champagne. Because when you're losing weight, your life, of course, is more precious than a $1 million bottle of champagne. And what do I mean by that? Now that you know how important it is for you to practice that super attitude, that super state, you can have a binary review of your life. So when I ask you, how do you feel? Of course, you have a whole spectrum of emotions to answer with. But now I want you to be more binary with it. And if you're not super right now, you're slow. You're not good enough. You could do better. So you could invest a few seconds or a few minutes to elevate your emotional state, because now you know how important that is. And before I move on, I will give you an example. I had a coaching session a few days ago, and my client we were doing live with him his happy landing exercise. And he felt so overwhelmed with the feeling of achievement that he went out of state. So he opened his eyes and he started, speaking as if, we had a discussion as we were doing a minute ago. So why that happened? Because that feeling was not, he was not ready to resonate with it. He was not ready yet to resonate with that feeling. This is why practice is so important. Yes, when you are right now in a state where you feel sloppy most of the times, you are not yet accustomed to your super state. So it will not be familiar, and you will have kind of trouble resonating and holding on to that state. So when that happens, the second step, now that you have identified that most probably you're at the sloppy state, no problem, because you know what to do. You can practice the exercises of perspective, and part of your perspective is acceptance. And acceptance has also three legs, let me remind you. It's not only accepting your past and your present as a fact, but also accepting your destination, and also accepting your infinite potential, and most importantly, the part that you have not tapped into yet. Number two is forgiveness, and then love, unconditional love, starting from yourself, because self-love is like a game changer, and it is also expanding the vessel of love in your life, the love that you can allow in your life. And gratitude, then with gratitude alone, you can do wonders. And now you're ready mentally and emotionally for your happy landing exercise, which is the pinnacle. It is when you close your eyes, you relax, and you see, and most importantly, feel yourself at your destination. So your super self has no resistance. So all the ballast, all the emotional and mental ballast is off. And your super self has no resistance simply because it is done. Your super self is at your destination. Your super self has achieved that goal. Your super self has already won, so there is no resistance about winning. Your super self knows it is done and is grateful that it is done, that it is so. This is the game changer. So, I gave you some inspiration and I gave you some insights. Now I want to give you a bit of a warning. And that warning is that, as Elsie Lincoln Benedict beautifully said more than 100 years ago, your predominant emotion is basically the ruler of your life. Your predominant emotion is the ruler of your life. So if your predominant emotion, for example, is stress, you will choose the next sequence of events in order to feel or refeel stress. Feel stress again, because this is what Tony Robbins calls your emotional home. So what you want is to basically upgrade that emotional home, move into a better home, and what better than your super attitude? The attitude that your super self had in order to achieve your super goal. So, since that is the case, and since resonance is the game changer, now you know that we need to repeat and remind ourselves once again that your super self is already at your destination, and also remind you that you may not be at your destination right now, but you can travel mentally and emotionally anywhere you want in the universe, anywhere you want in time and space. And what better than to relive your super attitude, to fully resonate with your super attitude. This is the game changer. Make it your number one priority to practice your super attitude, your super state as much as possible, because this is the state that gets everything else done. This is all it takes. And this is the game changer. And now, let me briefly give you this big surprise that I have for you, because in 100 days from now, I will be celebrating, and basically we will all be celebrating, because with some of you, we are together from the very beginning, 10 years of daily shots of inspiration. It's hard for me to believe that this amazing milestone is coming in 100 days' time. And for sure, I would like to think of it as my super project in life, and at least up until now. So I have been pondering for a while which is the best way to celebrate this super project. And for me, the best way to celebrate is with a super party. And it's not an event. That super party is a 100-day party from now until the actual birthday on January 1st, 2025. And during these 100 days, basically, I will be sharing my best and most challenging moments, both from on stage and off stage. And I will also be giving you many amazing insights, like the best of the do's and don'ts from all these 10 years, everything that shaped who I am today, everything that keeps shaping my super self. During these 100 days, of course, I will also be giving many, 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 many gifts as part of the gratitude that I feel that you are in this journey with me. We're doing this together. And I'm so grateful, truly, even though we might have never met, that you're holding on to the image and the idea of your super self in the making. And last but not least, there will be a VIP party on January 1st, 2025. And from now until then, you will have many, many chances to win a free VIP ticket to attend. This will be a private party. it will be an invitation only, because I want this to be something that will be celebrated with the people that are truly part of this idea of starting their day with a shot of inspiration, of holding on to the vision of their super self, regardless of the sloppiness and the challenges that come along your way. So we will be celebrating for 100 days. We will be upgrading ourselves for 100 days. But most importantly, we will be doing all this as while together we are practicing and resonating with the frequency, the attitude of our super self, or what I like to call our super attitude. So before I leave you, let me give you some homework. And if you haven't done so already, watch Super Masterclass number 1. I have pasted the link here in the chat. It is also available in your description. And of course, you might go back to a couple of weeks' time in your daily thoughts of inspiration and find the link there. Number 2, find the 3 core adjectives that express your super attitude. Number 3, participate fully in the super party that we will be having from today and for another 100 days. Once again, it was a great pleasure for me to be delivering this content and giving you an, truly elevated view of your super self and the super attitude that you can start having right now, and getting closer and closer to your super self and the super destination that you have picked as, your next destination in life. And last but not least, as always, I want to remind you that you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. So, see you tomorrow with another daily shot of inspiration, and we will be seeing each other very, very soon with some upgraded content, part of the VIP party that we are having and part of this amazing journey that we are building together. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.